UFC 226 could see the addition of two highly anticipated matchups in Max Holloway vs. Brian Ortega and Francis Ngannou vs. Derrick Lewis. The pay-per-view event, scheduled to take place at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas on July 7, is already headlined by a huge heavyweight title super fight between current champion Stipe Miocic and light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier. Adding to the already confirmed, exciting matchups in Raphael Assuncao vs. Gokhan Saki vs. Khalil Rountree Jr. and Yancy Medeiros vs. Mike Perry. A featherweight title fight is now being targeted, according to MMA Fighting. Holloway last defended his featherweight crown in a rematch against Jose Aldo at UFC 218 in December last year. The Hawaiian was to defend his belt against Frankie Edgar at UFC 221 last month but then pulled out due to a leg injury. Max Holloway looked set to defend his featherweight title for a second time. Pictured, Max Holloway prior to his fight with Jose Aldo of Brazil at UFC 218 inside the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan, Dec. 2, 2018. Photo, Gregory Seamus. Getty Images. As fate would have it, the unbeaten Ortega stepped in and became the first fighter to knock out Edgar and become next in line for the 145-pound strap. It seemed T-City would have to wait a bit longer for his shot at the title as Holloway stepped in for the injured Tony Ferguson to take on Khabib Nurmagomedov for the lightweight championship. At UFC 223 earlier this month, however, the New York State Athletic Commission pulled Holloway from the contest as they feared he was unfit to make the drastic weight cut on short notice. A Holloway vs. Ortega meeting represents one of the most exciting matchups in the featherweight division, with both fighters being young and yet to reach their prime as well as riding a combined 26-fight win streak. Meanwhile, a heavyweight clash between knockout artists Ngannou and Lewis is also being targeted, according to MMA Fighting, who report that it is close to being added to the card. Francis Ngannou will be looking to get back to winning ways after his first UFC loss. Pictured, Francis Ngannou enters the octagon for his fight against Stipe Miocic in their heavyweight championship fight during UFC 220 at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts, January 20, 2018. Photo, Mike Lowry. Getty Images. Ngannou is one of the most exciting and devastating fighters in the world today due to his scary knockout power, but suffered his first octagon loss in a one-sided unanimous decision loss to Miocic at UFC 220 in January this year. The Cameroonian Frenchman will be looking to get back to winning ways against Lewis, who has been trash-talking Ngannou on social media ever since his defeat. Lewis most recently made it 7 wins in his last 8 fights against Marcin Tybura in February, and is equally as devastating as Ngannou when it comes to finishing his opponents. The heavyweight contest could ideally set up the next contender to face the heavyweight champion, depending on who wins the main event. If Miocic retains his title and extends the heavyweight title defense record to 4, he will likely face the winner of Ngannou vs. However, if Cormier wins, there is a possibility he goes back to the light heavyweight division and defends his belt there before fighting at heavyweight again, assuming he does not vacate his title soon after. Should the latter be the case, the winner of Ngannou vs. Lewis could then face Russia's Alexander Volkov in a title eliminator. Volkov is fresh off a knockout win over fellow contender and former champion Fabricio Werdum last month.